Hello everybody, my name is Eric Terramons, and today we're going to be checking out Zenless Zone Zero's made by Apex Toys' Anby Damara. She's a 1/7 scale figure, and she is scaled very accurately. Despite this, her anatomical proportions are a little bit wonky and all over the place, but that just adds to the artistic stylings that this character has. And my goodness, am I ever a fan of this character's design. I actually love a lot of the designs from Zenless Zone Zero. MiHoYo sure does make some epic stuff. I spend most of my time writing, illustrating, and self-publishing my own manga. And let's not forget all the editing and the photo shoots that I put into making these reviews for you all. Just not much time after that. If you'd like to see her full unboxing, be sure to check the link in the description below. Before I get into all the detailings to this figure, I'd like to just mention that she pops right off this base. While she's on it, she can shake if you really jostle this thing, but I never feel like she's going to topple over. Aside from that, she is very solid on there, which is nice. And I kind of brought it up in my unboxing, but she does fit into this thing really nicely, as do other figures, providing their base has the right circular measurements. But when it goes on top of it like this, it really looks nice as well. This is a perfect makeshift acrylic riser for your display cabinets where you can have Anby behind other figures, and she's still gonna come out looking visibly fantastic behind your shelf. Of course, does Apex Toys' Ganyu's circular base fit into this thing? It does not, but it comes pretty close. The rough sizing you're looking for, if you want to be able to fit in some of your figures at home, is 13.1. I would say 13.2, but I think that you'd be kind of crushing it in there, and I don't know how easy it would be to get out afterwards. Not worth taking that risk. This intricate base plate riser is freaking awesome, with writing along the side that says, "Welcome to New Eridu, where humanity rises anew." The little logo that we have with the EZ right next to it. And then the whole design of this thing to look like it's a film reel is really expertly done. On the top, we actually have some sectioning off of different types of plastics to create a different type of look with metallics and then a more matte underneath. While on the bottom, we get an EZ Studio carved out logo. However, mine has a massive scratch going along the underneath of it. Something I could complain about, but I'm not really going to because I'm not going to notice this when it's on my display shelf. Meanwhile, the base that she's standing on is a gray clear plastic. This is super boring, but it works well at really selling us on the whole real thing when it's placed on top of it. So we don't actually have any product information anywhere on this figure. If you found this walking around at a random flea market, you would never know that Apex Toys is the one that made it unless you used, I guess, Google Lens or something like that with the figure, but that's not the point. It's just to say that that's surprising. They could have at least put it along the side here or something. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of having tons of product markings all over my figures, but it is nice to know that some of them have them in case you're ever curious or if you're buying this, especially when you want to make sure it's a real figure and not a knockoff, because this is such an epic figure that I wouldn't be surprised if there aren't any knockoffs kicking around of her now at the point of this release, which is like it just released, and in the future. Her feet peg into these really large, long metallic pegs, which is nice. I think that the giant chunks of gray plastic that we get here are a bit intense. They put so much design work under her shoe and we don't really see them. This should have been a clear plastic. There's no need for this being a darker one to match up with her actual base. Because of the shade they have here, it's extremely noticeable. Her shoes are absolute insanity. Look at the crazy amount of detail that we have all over this thing. My goodness, Apex, you really pushed hard on this one. Actually, I would say they tried very hard at creating this entire figure with multiple different colors and finishes, getting some semi-gloss into matte, into metallics. These shoes, how much? I'd like to buy a pair, please. Do you think I could pull shoes like that off? Probably not. Doesn't mean I wouldn't try though. They didn't cheap out on anything here. We have so much going on and it's very impressive. The sculpt work is fantastic. I would say maybe the one thing I would have liked to see here is on the outside of the shoe. I think I would have put a little bit of a gloss or semi-gloss on just the clip here so it pops as a different type of plastic. With all these loop-de-loops and floating around pieces all over her shoes, you'd think that this would be weak plastic, but here I am squeezing it up a little bit, and it is solid. Her legs then come out of these shoes very nicely, so it does give off the look like she's wearing the shoes and it's not some weird kind of molded thing and the foot doesn't look like it's in there improperly. It's done well here, where she has these thigh highs that are loaded with detail. Not only do we get some shading and a bit of highlights, but we also get a couple of color gradients throughout them. The stretches and pulls in the fabric here are very well placed. Where on her right thigh, we actually have some nicely semi-gloss belts with metallic painted fixtures. The sculpt work used to really bevel out her skin is excellently done. We get a lovely orange band and a graffiti printed on design. Her skin is soft and has a delicate amount of shading on it to really help the appearance of her skin beveling around her clothing. And for those of you that don't like things that are too sexualized, rejoice because she is wearing shorts underneath this skirt. Oh my gosh, and let's not forget that if you like my video just a little bit, it doesn't cost much to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and the notification bell. This way you'll be notified of my future videos. And why not leave a comment? It really helps support my channel. The shorts are black and matte. We get a little bit of sculpt work on them, but not that much. And the nature in which that everything is painted and done makes it so it's not necessarily easy to look at. And the photos I'm sharing with you, I kind of cleaned up on Photoshop and really pushed some of the highlights to the extreme so the definition really comes out and you, the viewer, can see what's going on a little better. The pleated skirt is expertly sculpted with a beautiful range of dynamic motion and looks nice from every angle, where the belt holding everything together is perfectly painted, while the buckle clip here has metallic paints on it to really make it pop. We got this little clip that goes into this long band that flies all around her left side. She then has a black reflective G-string of sorts that comes up and around her waist. This thing really digs into her skin, making everything bevel out around it very nicely, and this really gives off an excellent allure of sex appeal to this character, despite the fact that you don't actually get to see any of this due to the shorts that she's wearing underneath her pleated skirt. Personally, I think it would have been nice to have her wearing said underpants and making it visible, considering the dynamic flow of her skirt and everything that they're showing off here almost feels like it's made for this. But due to the fact that this is a MiHoYo game, I know they like to tread kind of lightly with certain aspects, and maybe this is all part of it to make the whole thing more PG friendly. Regardless of what I just said, I do really like the short look, and it makes it feel a little more realistically that she's a close quarters combat type that may specialize in all sorts of flips, twists, and turns. I'm guessing the shorts will just make her feel a lot more comfortable while doing these things. The sculpt work that we get for her stomach is very nice. We get a strong defining line from her navel going upwards. I would almost say that this line is a little too indented, but from its shelf it does reflect the light nicely. You don't get to see her back that well, and this is where I'd like to mention that art style comes into play very heavily here, because her waist is very tiny. I would almost say that her thighs are 2 times larger, and when you get up into her shoulders and even her head, she has just such a small frame here that it's much too small. It should have been a little bit wider and a little more solid. However, the fact that they made it like this did an excellent job at pushing the art style that they're trying to go with while making things flow and seem so much more dynamic. So despite the proportions not being necessarily realistic, it does do an excellent job at selling you on the way they want you to look at this figure. She then has a white tighter shirt underneath, and over that she has her super cool looking, toxic feeling tank top adventure. With a lovely printed on design in the middle on some black, it then goes up into this awesome green. I think the green looks really, really good. The way it bevels over all the blacker materials underneath does an excellent job at making it feel like it's some sort of armor or a different type of plasticky material. And the center's cut out holes that's using a glossy black creates a nice focal point for her chest. As we go up, there's a hoodie attached onto this thing, and we have some nice flowing shoelace styled attachments for it. The hoodie itself is really blocky. I don't know what to say. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's bad. It does what it's supposed to do, and it looks decent from a shelf. You can see how her backpack attaches into this clothing around the bottom, and I don't know what to say about that either. I feel like she should have major straps or stronger connecting pieces. Perhaps the X that we have along the front of her body could have gone all the way through and connected into her backpack. That would have been pretty cool, but again, this is a character design art style thing, so it doesn't have to make sense. She just plugs it in and away she goes. This backpack is so awesome. I'm a huge fan of Ghostbusters, Gundam, Warhammer 40K, all sorts of things that have epic backpacks in it. I'm a backpack person. I carry my backpack with me everywhere I go in life. I always have a backpack on me. I just like backpacks. And this one is so cool. We get all sorts of excellent different types of textures. It's boxy and mechanical style. Sculpt work does an excellent job at separating it from the more organic and dynamic flow we get from the character herself, which is excellent. We've got a whole bunch of printing on here, Anby written at the bottom left, the warning sign that we get on a clear plastic with just awesome little robotic things inside. The printing of the 1, 2, 3 just looks terrific on this pearlized toxic green. However, the number and letters written down on my vertical bar here seem a little bit off center, but it's not necessarily something I'm gonna notice unless I'm looking at it up close and paying attention to it. Just such a cool backpack. Her shoulders are cute and rounded and go into these sleeves. These sleeves are so cool. I just love the mashup that we get on this figure between all this organic and metallic and robotic parts. The sculptor just really knows their stuff when it comes to doing both these types of mediums, and that's saying a lot because not every sculptor can do organic and robotic. Her left sleeve looks fantastic with these giant circular metallic structures that seem to be bolted in here. I say bolted in because I actually have a knife made by Nock, and it has the same type of designs. This is very mecha, and this is what I use to be able to unscrew it if I need to open the knife and clean it, and it's all over the place on this design, and she has it all over her. So it's really a specific style that gives you that cyberpunk mecha vibe. They want you to think that the material of these shoulders is nice and thick chunks. You can see it in the way that the sculptor has put in the curves and folds of the plastic while adding the right amount of shading on this semi-gloss design. As we get a hyper-gloss attachment that flows around the outside, going into a more matte, rubbery looking end piece for this arm, and then back into a semi-gloss for the sleeve's wrist. And this thing is awesome because they are not attached to be symmetrical. It's so cool to see that one is a little tighter in than the other. It just gives it more personality. The arm comes out of this thing expertly, and it almost looks like it's super cushiony and soft in there, while the matte skin gets a nice break from this glove that is hypergloss and an excellent callback to the loop piece that we had seen earlier. The fingers are terrific, great personality to them. Nails are polished on there, while her right arm is symmetrical to the left one. There's not much to add here. The attention to detail, shading, and textures here are all very similar. Her right hand, however, definitely feels a little more spider-like as she's slowly gripping onto this sword. It looks like she's barely holding on to this thing, and due to the fact that it's so big and chunky, I think I would have preferred a stronger grip. But one could debate that the elegance in which she's holding this and her whole flow and motion of her body, maybe she's in the process of flipping the sword forward or doing something unique like that. Like the backpack, this robotic-looking, toxic, super cyberpunk sword is freaking amazing. We get some printed detail on the pommel, a lighter with a matte fate metallic gray going through the top part, where on the bottom, things seem like they have a lovely texture. It looks like it has a soft, cushiony attachment for comfort. This thing really looks like it's more one-handed as opposed to two. I don't play the game. I'm guessing she just uses one hand for all of this. I can't imagine how incredibly strong she is, but again, doesn't need to make sense. This is anime style. The blade has all sorts of epic little attachments, canisters, tons of printing everywhere. The name Nimbus written on there with a cool star, some scratches and weathering here and there to make it look like it has been a little bit used. It just feels so mecha anime-ish as it goes up into the main, I'm gonna call it blade part? I don't know. It feels like this is like a blade baseball bat mashup. Maybe something you'd see out of the game No More Heroes. Alright, so upon looking at one single short video about Anby, I came to realize that this isn't actually a baseball bat sword. This is the sheath, so her sword actually comes out of this thing. I mean, I'm assuming you all knew this. You're probably looking at me and being like, oh my gosh, Eric, what an idiot. But it's not that I'm an idiot, it's just that I'm extremely ignorant. I'm so sorry. But that being said, I do have to mention that it appears as though the sheath to her sword attaches underneath her backpack, and we don't get that here, so the whole design and everything looks cool, but it doesn't look like it's actually attaching into anything anywhere. And in my defense, this is why I thought it was one single weapon and not something that popped out of a sheath, because the sheath is attached to nothing. And that's a pretty big design flaw. Regardless, does it still look really cool? Yeah, it does. This awesome fluorescent green chunk in the center with an insanely well done green gradient going over the top of the metallic black that just gives it this epic glow effect. Little gold metallic along the top, and on the inside we have a black print. She's wearing a choker, and you can kind of see that this is where her head glues into the body. It's okay. It's not amazing. Up close and personal, you can almost see that this is how they attach everything. From this distance, it's really not noticeable. Her face is super cute, rounded, and she has that, don't talk to me look, but at the same time, I want all of your attention. The points, while seeming sharp, are very milled down to be smooth. So her nose is not sharp to the touch, neither is her chin. We get a cute little red line for her mouth and a tiny bit of gloss for her bottom lip. It's nothing that really pops out too much, but it is there. As for the eyes themselves, they're very decalish. On the one hand, the eyeball seems to have a nice little bit of semi-gloss to it, while the eyelashes are matte. I always love this, but the white part of the eye doesn't have that same reflectiveness, and it definitely should have. The eyebrows are light, and the line work that they have around them are dark, though I probably would have made them just a little bit darker, so it could have stood out a bit better from a distance, but it's not too bad. She's wearing these epic headphones that I think we all would love to have a pair of. I feel like I would wear most of this clothing. Really screams to me like, Eric, you should be wearing stuff that look cool like this. But I don't have anything cool like that. I just have a whole bunch of shirts and hats. Eric, always wanting more. The headphones are so cool. I love that they're asymmetrical, designed differently for each earpiece. And there's just so much going on with these earpieces, it looks fantastic as it goes up and around into the band, which is kind of simple. No shading, no highlights, no gloss, no nothing. They kind of missed out a little bit there. I probably would have put just a little bit of highlights on the main two rectangular parts. You know what it is? I'm being way too greedy. They've done it everywhere else on the figure that by the time they got here, I was like, I get that you put 200% into the earmuff pieces, but you know, like, could I maybe have something up here too? Just always wanting more. The way the hair is done really gives off this she has quite a big forehead vibe, and I think that's cute. It works really well for this character, and it kind of smooshes everything down a little bit smaller so that she seems like she's more of a petite frame because of it. The hair has nice poof and waviness to it. When looking at the front part, everything here is absolutely excellent. It looks so good. We get some gradients, but we don't get that anime shine that I know and love. Unfortunately, always wanting more. While on the back, everything for Anby's hair design is rounded and soft. They did a decent job at carving in some of the line work here, but I would have carved it just a bit deeper so that it would have hidden the fact that there are some of these plastics and hair strands that are all glued together. It's a lot. I'm actually surprised considering that her hair has this beautiful addition of being layered. It does an excellent job creating volume, and because you're working with just half a hair due to the fact that the hairband piece is on top here, they could have just done one shell and then another shell and then another one underneath to create this effect. So I don't know why they went out of their way to make this so many different parts. It doesn't look as bad as some of the things that I've seen in the past, but it's not amazing. Upon her release, she was going for 21,000 yen, and do I think Anby's worth this? Do I think Apex pulled it off? Apex has released a lot of figures over the years, to which I have quite a few. This is a much older figure, and I'm gotta say that the glow up that Apex has done with this, you can tell that they put so much love and care into Anby. It's insane. And it's not to say that they didn't do that for Little Ganyu, it's just they put a big budget into this. I do think she's worth that 21K price point, especially in today's market. I wouldn't be surprised if they did a re-release to something like this because it's so nice and it's kind of guaranteed money, especially considering a lot of people that got her, like me, are all gushing over the level of detail and quality that you get out of this. Apex, I'm just so happy right now. You did such a good job. And the fact that we're going to be getting more of these figures that are going to come with these bases makes me wonder if these bases are all going to be the exact same thing and they're designing their figures accordingly, or if we're going to get bigger or smaller reels. I'm not 100% sure. I did pre-order Ellen Joe, so I guess we'll see with that one. But having a super cool removable base like this is epic, and it wouldn't surprise me if they just did one size fits all and all of their figures are going to have the same thing, so it just looks really good on whatever display shelf that you have, and can definitely be reused for multiple different types of figures down the line. And Ava seems to collaborate with everything nowadays, so I wouldn't be surprised if at one point they did do something like this. Remember everyone, you saw it here first. She just fits so perfectly in this thing. They can't not have a collaboration after this. So if you're still kind of on the fence about this figure and you're not 100% sure if you want to grab one or not, maybe you could always check out the My Figure Collection page so you're in other people's people's collections, different types of angles and views, perhaps watch some other people's reviews on her, because that way you'll get different perspectives, maybe of some that have actually played the game and know her super well. Mine is coming from more of a artist perspective of somebody that likes to draw. I just love the character design. This thing is so cool. It almost looks like it's artwork come to life. Movement is just so expertly done. I think she was absolutely 100% worth what I had gotten her for. Hopefully today's review helped you decide which side of the fence you're on, getting her or not. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Anby here has the and compared to Ganya, oh my gosh. It's like one of those weird days where I'm like, I'm trying to accentuate specific words and they are not coming into my brain. I'm not able to think properly. I'm so tired. At the time of filming this, I just finished doing a crazy epic anime convention called Otakuthon, and it was awesome, but it's so draining doing conventions like this because I do a lot of drawings and sketches for people, and so it's just, it burns me out quite a bit. I love doing it, don't get me wrong. It's just that coming home and being like, all right, day one, back home, maybe I should sleep in today. Nope, I'm gonna do an anime figure review because she just came in and she looks so awesome and I just want to share it with everybody. My brain is just mush right now. This bait place, as we go up, there's a hood, come on brain, you can articulate your words a little bit better. Although this figure is quite silky smooth like butter. Although this figure's silky smooth butteriness is just so buttery. That's it. I'm out of here.